Hey everybody, it's James here from the Sawyer Family Reviews channel and actionfeatures.net, bringing you a very special review of these custom Pulp Heroes 3 3/4 action figures. We've got Dick Tracy, we've got the Shadow, we've got Doc Savage. These are incredible. Let's check them out. Okay, as always, I need to spend some time on the packaging first before we take a look at the figures. And man, is this packaging astounding. It's amazing. These are probably my favorite carded figures I've bought in quite a long time, just because this packaging is so awesome. If you've listened to me on the Action Features podcast, or you've been a part of the channel for a while, you know I'm a big fan of these Pulp heroes, like older Golden Age type characters, both from the Pulps and from original comic strips. So I'm a big fan of these characters, and seeing their original representations, well, it's a bit of a fudge on this one, but seeing these original representations on these card backs, that's from the first cover of Doc Savage, Man of Bronze, the first Pulp. This is a Baumhofer painting. It's facing the other direction. It's been flip-flopped on this image, which just works better with the card back. And then it's got the James Bama style, the 70s paperback Doc Savage type logo there. So it's blended both into one thing on this card back, and the whole card back has sort of an aged Pulp look to it. Action for New Age, ages 17 and up. We've got a Kenner Tribute Mayhem logo down below, and the carded figure represented here. Each of them has a different color motif. We've got green, blue, yellow, and then the background of each card also has a different color. It's a lot like the old Kenner Star Wars figures, where they would have different colors behind them. The back of each card features a lot of information. So there's a big write-up for each one of them. Two-fisted Pulp action straight from the 1930s. We've got some nice representations of different Doc Savage covers here. We've got a couple of original Pulp covers, and then we've also got a cover for one of the Marvel magazines. And there's quite a long write-up here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll kind of bring it in here some. That way, in case you want to read it all, you can pause and read the whole thing. But you don't see this that often anymore, where you get this much information on a card back, where this card back is fully dedicated. It's just really, really fun. And then we've got some teases down below of figures that may be coming in this custom line as well, where Spirit, Kato, and Green Hornet may round out the second wave. Who knows? And then we've also got another Kenner Tribute down below here with the General Mills proof of purchase down below. So there is Doc. And then Dick Tracy. Now, the card back image here is actually from a movie called Alphaville. It's a play off of that cover. It's been heavily photoshopped here to make it look like a Dick Tracy, like a more realistic looking Dick Tracy, since both of these paintings on these card backs are more like a real world look to them. The Dick Tracy figure doesn't do the Chester Gould type Dick Tracy on there. I guess they wanted to make it look more like a real world version, but I think it looks really awesome. I think it looks like Dick Tracy. I mean, it looks like Dick Tracy. You get the Dick Tracy comic logo here. Then on the back, we've got a large write-up about Dick Tracy. We've got a couple of comic covers, and this one's actually from the series that came out leading up to the film. So that's kind of cool there. So we got a little film tribute there. Also down here, this looks like a tweaked version of the Warren Beatty painting that Steranko did for, I think, Cinefantastic, a cover of Cinefantastic. That's what that looks like to me. Here is the write-up if you want to pause it. Again, there's quite a bit of information on there. And just all the weathering and stuff. It's just, man, these card backs are insane. Each one of them comes unpunched as well. So there's a punch out there, but it hasn't been punched. And then last but not least, of course, is the Shadow. This is a George Rosen cover. George Rosen? Yeah, George Rosen. I think it's George Rosen, right? It's not Jerome. Jerome did them first, and then George did them. I just get the names flip-flop, but I'm pretty sure that's George Rosen, not Jerome Rosen. And that was, I think, Winter Crime? I can't remember what the story was that had this cover. But it's an old Pulp cover there. And then we've got, again, the Kenner Tribute Mayhem logo down below. And then a bunch of information on the back. 3 Pulp covers of the Shadow on the back. And then a large write-up about the Shadow, which I'll leave up there if you want to pause it and have a read. All this information on these is great, too. It really, I mean, this fills you in. If you've never heard of the Shadow before, this write-up will fill you in. The Dick Tracy write-up will fill you in. So these are awesome. And it's kind of a shame, almost, that they're adhered to the card like this, right? Because you're going to want to get them out of the packaging. One of the cool things that this customizer has done is you can get these with unused card backs. So, for example, when I'm taking my Shadow out, I'm going to cut him off the card, save the inner bubble, and then it also includes this unused card back that you can slide out of this packaging, after this clear bubble, and then put the bubble inside here, and then slam this guy back down, and you've got yourself a repackaged version. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. If you wanted to keep these carded and just leave them as is, you can just get them like that. If you want to take them out, but you still want to appreciate this card art and put it back in the packaging, just save that little tray and put it inside here, and then you can insert it inside this packaging. That is awesome. And it's not just for Shadow. You can get it all. You can get all three figures that way. So you can get Dick Tracy with the extra card back, or you can get Doc Savage with the extra card back. I can't say enough great things about this packaging. It is killer. I've got this set. I'm going to put them back on the cards, but I'm almost tempted to get another set just to keep them sealed on those card backs, just because I love this packaging so much. But this is a great solve for people that are having the dilemma of opening and ruining the packaging. You can get them. I think it's only like an extra $10 to get this extra piece here. Okay, let's get these out of the package and check them out. Okay, wait, before I get into those loose figures, let me show you guys one more thing. So this is a Reaction card back, and this is the Pulp Heroes card back. As you can see, they're the same size. I wanted to make sure I highlighted that. So these will fit in a star case, just like your Reaction figures will, your vintage Star Wars do, G.I. Joe Real American Hero do. And at this point, I've already opened them up, so you can now see that I put the bubble inside of this reclosable packaging, and now I can put my Dick Tracy figure back in here, and it'll look just the same. All right, back to the review. Okay, so here is all three of the Pulp guys out of the boxes. First of all, heights. They all stay right at about that 3 3/4 height. They're all around the same height, right around that 3 3/4 mark. I mean, just a hair under. Here is a vintage Star Wars figure, a snowtrooper. And then here is a Reaction Casey Jones that you can see that they're all meant to be in that same kind of scale. They're maybe just a little bit shorter than your usual 3 3/4 guys, but those heights vary on those characters anyway. They'll fit in fine with your 3 3/4 display. Articulation, they all have the same articulation. It's 5 points, just like vintage Star Wars figures where you've got rotation at the neck, rotation at each shoulder that go all the way around, and then rotation at the hips. They go forward and they go back to about there. Oh, sorry to interrupt you, James. I know I was just talking about the articulation on Doc here, but something you should keep in mind is these are custom figures. These are custom resin painted figures. And as such, they're not meant to be moved. So even though I showed you the movement of the 5 points, they're not meant to be moved. If you do it at your own risk, because there's always a chance the paint will dry, the resin will dry, something will happen so that the joints don't want to move. You can mediate this a little bit by maybe blowing with a hairdryer or something first, but either way, this is a customized figure, and a lot of times custom figures aren't meant to move, and that is the case here. If you decide to move it, if you decide to switch the head, if you decide to put guns in the hands, anything you decide to do with this figure other than having it sit on a shelf, you're doing at your own risk. Keep that in mind, okay? You can't blame the people that customize this if you move a joint and an arm breaks, because you're being told ahead of time, hey, take it easy on this thing. It's not meant to move around. Back to it, James. Each of the sculpts is very nicely detailed. We've got Doc in his torn up shirt with his aviator style pants. I don't know what those pants are called. I never remember what those pants are called, but they're like the Rocketeer pants. I always call them aviator pants. And his knee cut boots, black belt. We've got the Shadow with his wide brim hat, his interior cloak with gray buttons, the red scarf that goes around. I'm going to take this off for a second so you can see all the detailing that goes all the way around on him. Then he's got a nice cloth cloak on top of that rests on there with a the same style that Superpowers had, where it has that like kind of plastic clip that goes around the neck, and that's done in red so it kind of blends in with the mask as it's on there. And then of course we've got Dick Tracy in his classic yellow fedora, his classic yellow coat. He's got the red and black striped tie that he always wore, and then a plain black suit, and he's also got the two-way wrist radio sculpted on there. Each of the likenesses is really well done too. It's kind of tough to see at this kind of scale on a video, but you could see that they've got like the bent nose on Tracy. We've got the big schnoz on the Shadow, and then we've got the sort of Baumhofer tousled hair going on with the standard Doc look. Shadow is the only one that I have a little trouble standing, and I think it's because he's sort of back heavy with that cape on there. I don't have a figure stand that fits these either. They have kind of tiny peg holes, so I don't have a figure stand right off the bat that would fit all of these. As far as accessories go, Dick Tracy comes with his trusty Tommy gun, and that fits right into his hand. It would probably fit in the other hand as well, but that hand is sculpted to the side, so you could have him talking to his two-way wrist radio. And then the Shadow, we've already shown you that he's got a 2-layered cloak, so it's red material on the inside and black material on the outside. We'll take that off once again. He does have the neck articulation. It doesn't have as much range to it, though, because he's got that high collar. And then he's got his twin 45s that go in each hand. There's no holsters on them, but it's a 3 3/4 scale figure, so expecting that from a 3 3/4 figure would be kind of crazy. Let's just keep that cloak off of him for a second. He looks good without the cloak, too. Like, he looks good with the cloak or without the cloak. I love that they did the clip, too, in red instead of black, because once it's on there, it kind of blends in with that mask. You can't see it as much. For Doc Savage, we've got the Super Machine pistol, and this is really cool because I believe that's the Steranko design for the Super Machine pistol, which is really awesome. That's a unique weapon to Doc Savage and his Fabulous Five. The other cool thing about Doc Savage is, so Doc Savage has two very distinct looks. There's the original Pulp look by Walter Baumhofer with his tousled hair, and then we've got the more strange look from James Bama from the 70s paperback reprint covers. And that just pops right on there. So he comes with both head sculpts. Hang on one sec, let me get it. This one I haven't actually put on there yet, so it's a little tight. Come on, James. Muscle it on there. Show them what you got. All right. So there we go. So there we've got the paperback version of Doc Savage from James Bama's paintings, where he's got sort of the hair helmet. And that's actually probably the look I'll go with for my Doc figure, as that stands out to me more as Doc Savage. It's more of a unique look. But this outfit works for either one. Doc always had a torn-up shirt on the Pulp covers and always on the Bama reprint covers, the paperback reprint covers. So either way, that look works for him. I can't get over how stellar these three figures are. I think they're every bit as good as a reaction release from Super 7. They're way better than the old Funko reactions. They're just as good, if not better, than anything Hasbro's doing in their retro line of Star Wars. I would say they're definitely better than those retro Star Wars. They're just really well painted, really well sculpted, and three characters that we're not seeing a ton of merchandising for. The Doc Savage and the Shadow have both had figures from, a 1/6 scale figure from, I think it was Go Hero. Yeah, Go Hero did figures of both of those guys. But that was years ago they pulled those off. The Shadow, of course, had his movie line. But outside of that, there's really not a lot of Shadow or Doc Savage figures. There's that 12-inch figure. There's some statues. There's not a lot going on. For Dick Tracy, we had the Indie Spotlight stuff from Jeff Beckett, which that was not a good figure at all. We've got the upcoming Mezcos, which is great. And then we had some Mez-Its, which are stylized. And we have the old Playmates movie line. So getting these versions of these characters and their classic looks in this scale is super, super fun. And I'm hopeful that this customizer will do more of them, that the second wave will happen, and that we'll get a Green Hornet, a Kato, and Will Eisner's The Spirit to go with these guys. I don't have my Reaction Rocketeer with me. I would love to put a Reaction Rocketeer with these and see what it looks like. I really wish that Reaction Rocketeer looked better to make it match these a little bit better, but what can you do? I would love to see Phantom like this. Having the Phantom in this scale, in this style, would be really cool. The Avenger would be really cool like this. I could go on and on about how much I would like to see from this line in this scale, sculpted this well, painted this well. Like, these paint apps are just really well done. Like, look at that. They even painted the whites of Doc Savage's eyes, which at this scale, a lot of times, it's just a little black dot. And I believe it is just... So Dick Tracy always had sort of a closed eye look to him, so that kind of works for him. And the same with the Shadow, where he looks sort of more intimidating. But Doc's eyes are wide and open, so he's got those extra whites to his eyes. Man, these are so much fun. These are so much fun. I love, love, love these figures. Yeah, super, super cool. If you can find them, then grab a set. They're not cheap. I will warn you of that. So for standard 3 3/4 figures like this, retro style, you're paying about $20 at Reaction, but those are mass-produced figures. These are customized figures. They feel like they're manufactured, like they feel like as good as quality as a Reaction figure, but these are not. These are like customized figures. So this kind of thing where they're custom-made jobs and there's not a huge production run of these or something like Reaction figures have or Hasbro figures have to make them $20. You're not going to get that kind of pricing. They're pricier figures. I believe I paid around $65 a figure. And you may think I'm crazy for doing that, but for me, being a fan of these figures, being a fan of these characters, to me was worth it. It was an extra $10 a piece for buying those card backs. But to me, stellar job, stellar figures. I absolutely love these. I love, 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 love these. You can tell I love them because I actually did a review of them. You know how slow I am on reviews and how much time it takes me to do a review and post a review up. For me to get these, I got these yesterday, and to immediately want to do a review of them and share them with you guys just shows how much I love these figures. They're pretty awesome. All right, that's doing it for this one. I don't know when I'll do another review. Stick with the channel, though, and you never know what might happen. Check out my Instagram, @ActionFeatures. I'm going to post some pictures of these guys. Yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.